Hello, hello, everybody. My name is Katie Ellington Sorrow. I'm not Carl Hunnell. You can feel about that however you want to. But I am the education reporter here at Richland Source. I'm so excited to be co-hosting this event tonight and to elevate the discussion about our local schools because it's so important. We often don't think about local K-12 public schools as government agencies. I know I didn't until I started this job, but that's exactly what they are. Public school districts are funded with your tax dollars, and as a group of angry colonists shouted in 1765, there can be no taxation without representation. There you go. And that is why we are here today. Last school year, the Mansfield City School District educated more than 2,900 students, employed more than 265 teachers, and had an operating budget of more than $58.5 million. It's a big deal, and it's why this race matters. But what exactly is a school board member? As the Ohio School Board Association puts it, school board members don't manage the day-to-day operations of a school district. They see to it that the system is managed well by professional administrators, namely the superintendent and the treasurer who the board employs. School board members are in charge of setting policy, approving budgets and expenditures, and they also serve as a kind of ambassador, sharing community concerns and priorities with the folks running the schools. They're accountable for ensuring the financial health of a school district and providing an additional layer of oversight. And if you live in the Mansfield City School District, they're elected to represent you. So with that, I'd love to turn it over to the three candidates tonight. We have 5 running for 3 seats. Unfortunately, our incumbents, Linda Golden and Chris Elswick, were unable to attend tonight because there is a school district insurance meeting, and they are on that committee. So I'll let the 3 of you introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about you and why you decided to run for school board. You can thumb wrestle over who gets to go. No, Gary, why don't you start?
They said Gary first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I was brought up to always let the ladies go first. So I've been on the Mansfield City School Board for 6 years. I lived in Mansfield pretty much all my life other than my college years, and about 3 or 4 years I lived in Cleveland. And then I came back to Mansfield. I love Mansfield, and I actually love Mansfield City Schools even more so. Probably 80% of my success that I've had in business, and I've run an insurance agency for the last 40 years. I just had my 40th year anniversary, and over half of that is basically because of what I've learned in the Mansfield City Schools. So I remember when I was in 1974, when I graduated, Mr. Glass, some of you might know who he was a superintendent, and he was giving the speech to our group who graduated. And I sat there as a graduating, and I said, I have to be a part of Mansfield City Schools when I graduate. So when I came back, I lived in Madison, so I couldn't run. There were some other things that happened, but I was able to get on the board 6 years ago. I think that we're trying to make a difference. I think we are making a difference, but most importantly, we have to educate our children, because our children is Mansfield, and it will be Mansfield for the future.
So I'm Rebecca Wayman, mother of 4, lifelong resident of Mansfield, born and raised here. Very proud of my city. When I was first approached about school board, I was like, no, not me. I'm not that person. But, we got to talking about it, praying about it, thinking about it. And I have a big servant's heart. I like to serve the community. We do a lot of work with our church, a lot of work with the homeless population here in town. A lot of work, I've worked my entire lifetime with kids in some form, way. But when I got to thinking about the school system and how much it has impacted my life, as an alumni of the city schools, it really has been important to me. Even in college, I thought about things that I have learned along the way from teachers. I remembered little points that they had given me, something about pronouns, verbs. I was like, wow, I remember that from 7th grade. But the teachers in the school really impacted me, and I want to give back to the community with my servant's heart. I want to give back to these kids, really focus on a lot of issues that I feel like have kind of been going into the dumps lately, and so we'll get more into that if you have questions, but I want to get more involved, and I'm going to have to get my feet wet and see what's going on, actually, because I've never served on a school board before, but I'm going to hit the ground running.
Hi, I'm Deena Hamilton, born and raised here in Mansfield, graduate of Mansfield Senior High, 1990. I am a community, very involved with our community. I have a nonprofit organization that I've ran for the last 10 years, Love on a Mission, and we just, the youth have always been a part of my life. Back when I was attending church, I was always involved with our youth, led youth groups, and then after my twins, I have twins that are that came out as gay, and after they came out, I started this nonprofit, Love on a Mission, looking around at the area. There was nothing really for the LGBTQ community. I am a fierce advocate for safe spaces for them, and so at the end of the year, I'll be resigning from Love on a Mission, and I am hoping to, if elected, change my advocacy to Mansfield City Schools, and still continuing with youth and be a voice for the students, supporting our teachers, and just always having that communication with our community.
Thank you all so much. So, Deena, at this time, we'll start again with you and work our way back. What are 2 or 3 key issues for you all that you would like to address if elected or re-elected?
My first one is communication with the community, with staff, with teachers, with our students. I know, with levies not being passed, the deficit of the budget, staff members being laid off, losing teachers, that communication is huge. If we're asking for levies to pass or want that community support, I think we need to be transparent with the community. One thing that I hope to do is to advocate for more communication, whether that be meetings with the community members, more social media presence, just letting them know what is going on in the board meetings and things that are coming down from the State House that are going to be affecting the school as well. Another one is student support. Being a support, all of our students are very important to me and important to a community and families, but they all deserve to be in inclusive, safe environments, and that is something that I want to make sure that is there for each of our students. My third thing is teachers and support staff, to make sure that they are supported and are well trained as far as being able to well-trained as far as making sure that they are creating those spaces for inclusive, to be inclusive and safe for each of the students.
All right. One of the things that really bothers me is the reputation of the Mansfield City Schools. For some reason, we just keep getting a bad rap. I don't know where it's all coming from, but I would like to see like an improvement, like a specialized improvement program to be enforced in the community to rebuild the reputation of Mansfield City Schools. With the charter schools that we have in our area, we have lost a substantial amount of students to those charter schools, and we need to bring some kind of pizzazz back to the Mansfield City Schools, build up that reputation and bring it back to show the community that we can service those students, because what we don't see in the background is that we're also losing money to those charter schools. Mansfield City is paying for certain things for these students to attend, transportation, they're losing money. So we've got to bring back the reputation of the Mansfield City Schools. Also the financial accountability, stability. The federal government has really given us a run with pulling out these funds. So it's going to become a big budgeting issue, and with a $58 million budget that our school is working with, we need to take a look at where those dollars are going. I've looked at the budget a little bit, and I'm not an expert on it, but there are areas that I feel like we need to address as a community. And as Deena said, we have to communicate with the public, communicate with the parents, and the parents also have to get involved, which is a big issue. The parents have to get involved and become concerned about their kids. And it takes a community. I always believe that, and it takes a community out there to raise these kids. And I just feel like sometimes we're not getting the support. But the financial part of it, we really need to observe closely, and because what we're doing right now just doesn't seem to be working. It's not fair for the teachers. They're picking up second and third jobs to support themselves. But yet we have also funds that we're losing from, like I said, the charter schools. So bringing the kids back, financial stability, and also improving for the students, improving the school system, making them feel like they're important in the everyday operation. A lot of kids that I talk to just feel like they're a number in the school. So, and the teachers are, what we don't realize is that some of them are facing angry students that aren't fed, students that don't have sleep at night, students that are working. So it also has to be a safety net enforced, and I feel like our local police department, probation officers, the criminal justice department really needs to step up and speak to these students. I remember I don't know if you remember, we were real close, we're real close in age, but we won't tell our age, but I don't know if you remember, we had these, the police officers used to come in and do
Like DARE and stuff?
Yeah, like DARE, and I'm sure they still do it, but we need to make more presence in the schools, because teachers do not deserve to be hit, spit on, kicked, fearful to come to work. And these folks are working for about 40 grand a year. They're teaching our kids for about 40 grand a year. And it's very sad. So there's a lot of improvements that I feel that Mansfield City needs to do. And I'm one of those tough gals that's going to get out there and fight the community, fight for what is our community needs and the school system.
Well, in my 6 years, I've changed the way I've thought, but I haven't lost any love for Mansfield City School. Number one thing that we have to, as a board member, we have to address our budget. By the next 2 years, we'll be in deficit spending. So that's spending more money than you're bringing in. So how do we address that? Okay, we just had a rift where we had to cut teachers. We've had to cut programs. Well, my belief is we're at a point now that we cannot cut anymore. We really can't. We have different programs. And we have to, as a board member, we have to understand if we cut a program, we're cutting kids, and those kids are going to the charter schools. There's more than just, so we cannot cut programs. We have to bring in revenue. So where do we get the revenue? We have thousands of kids that are going to the charter schools. I totally agree with you. So we have to change the image. That's number two, to change the image of Mansfield City Schools. We were working on that, and we're doing a pretty good job of trying to do it, but we have to do a better job. We have to market our school system. We have to let people understand, oh, I can be a CEO and still graduate from Mansfield City Schools. I can work in an insurance agency for 40 years and still graduate from Mansfield City Schools. I can be a doctor and still graduate from Mansfield City Schools. I could give you number of people that's graduated from from Mansfield City School that are doctors, lawyers. So we have to change that image, because people think that if you went to Mansfield City, you can't do these things, but you can. Now, needless to say, it is what it is. 87% of our students are on free and reduced lunch. So they're at the poverty level. So when they go home at night, a lot of them don't have a mother and a father in the home. Needless to say, a mother and a father in a home will help educate that child. Okay, my son just had his third child, and there's a mother and a father, and it helps. My wife went down to help him last week, and that just being there helps that educate their children. So asking a grandmother to raise an elementary child, but she's missing some things. So yeah, some of our kids are gonna be missing some things. So, okay, change the image, address the budget. Another portion of the bring in revenue is to increase our CTE program, Career Technical Education. Okay, if we can bring in, when our kids graduate, if they can graduate into a computer program, and there are technicians, and they're making $40,000, $50,000 a year graduating. We have programs currently, they can actually go to college and get an associate's degree at the same time of getting a high school degree. We have to let people understand Mansfield City School is the diamond in the rough. We really do. We as the board need to work with our city government. We need to work with Ms. Perry. We need to work with them to bring, because when you talk about bringing someone into Mansfield to live or to have a business, what they're looking at? They're looking at what are your city schools like? What are your city schools like? So we have to increase our city schools. Our academics have actually increased. So we're working on that, and that's actually helped. So change the image, work on our budget, and increase our revenue by increasing our CTE programs.
Thank you all so much. So Gary, we'll stick with you, and you had kind of alluded to this some, but before the start of the school year, there was a big riff. The school board, if my numbers are right, reduced its workforce by about a dozen administrators and administrator support staff, and around 60 plus educators in order to avoid a negative cash balance in the operating fund. As a school board member, how will you all ensure the district lives within its means, doesn't end up in that place again, while still providing a quality education to the students?
That's good. I was in a classroom yesterday, a second grade teacher had, when we were reading to the kids. She had 21 kids in her class, second graders. Now, I commend her that she can handle 21 kids. Now, if we want to make our city schools better, that's why I said we cannot cut our way through this. We can't cut any more teachers. I think our contract says we can have 25. We don't want to give her 4 more students. That's tough. Okay, so we have to, again, increase our revenue. Okay, federal government is cutting our funds. State government is cutting our funds. We have to do so much to provide for charter schools, for private schools. We're on the attack. But doggone it, we are here and we're going to make it. We're going to educate our kids, we're going to educate your kids and grandkids, and they are going to be able to be successful. But we have to look at our budget. We don't have any place else to cut. We got to bring in the revenue.
I agree, it was a sad moment to hear about the staff being cut, and a sad moment for the kids, because that meant more students ratio to teacher. We do need to focus on somehow bringing in more revenue, and as you hear about the cuts in the news, the federal government, the state government cutting our funds, it's becoming a very scary world, and it's hard to find that happy medium for the teachers and the students. We need to find ways, be creative. If we have to write grants, if we have to contact our federal politicians and voice our concerns, we got to stir up some kind of issue here in Mansfield to let them know that we are concerned about our kids and the staff. Like I said, these teachers are teaching on a shoestring budget. They get no allowances for school supplies. These kids are showing up with nothing. It's a very cruel world that we're living in, and we've got to make some kind of way to make the income come into the school system. I'm not for sure how it's going to happen, but I'm willing to go out there and fight for it. And if we got to write 18,000 grants to beg and plead for money, and also, like I said, contact our federal government to get the money in here. But it's a sad. I don't see us cutting anymore and being able to survive.
I think they're both correct as far as the revenue and the voucher, that the voucher program that's come down, and, you know, we have to provide the transportation. But I think, yes, we've cut a lot of we've cut a lot of teachers. However, I think we need to look how many students we have and make sure the administration and the teachers, they're right-sized. Like, we have enough, is it balanced, or is one side heavier than the other? I know there was a lot of teachers, I know there were some administration, but I think that is something that could be looked at as well. But again, I agree as far as revenue, and but I think if a levy ever got put back on, having the community involved and informed so that they would make those decisions and be proud to support the public school system.
All right. Brittany has just given me the signal that they're going to yank me off with a cane in about 5 minutes. So I'll ask for a brief answer. But in these discussions, candidates are often asked about the problems that their institutions face and what they want to fix and what they want to do differently. And we've talked about all that. But I want to end our conversation on a slightly different note. What is Mansfield City Schools doing right? What are the strengths in the district, and how do you believe that the board should continue to build on and leverage those strengths? And Deena will move back this way. Yeah.
I think we need to doing what we're doing as far as the grades. They've received 3.5 stars on their grade report card for Ohio, and that is a huge improvement from where they were. I think keep building on that. We also need to continue to look at those budgets and fiscally just remain, my mind just totally went blank. To remain fiscally responsible with the money that we do have. We do need to be creative as far as the voucher system, looking into that. And I know Columbus schools, they're giving, the students that are at charter schools, they're giving them, a gift card of $800 or something like that for gas, and they're not busing them. Now, I'm not saying that's something we can do here, but being creative and thinking outside the box of what would save us money in the long run.
So I think the city, the school district really has improved on their overall state report card. It's coming up. I like the idea of seeing the students' graduation rates are up, their test scores are up. So they're working hard. Not only the teachers, but the kids are also working hard. So that's also important. But I think we're on the right, but we're not quite there. There's something there that just kind of keeps holding us back. And I think we need to take that leap of faith and continue to grow with the school and build it up, build the reputation.
Well, I'm not really good at short
Me neither. Me neither.
conversation, but I can name a lot of things. Our infrastructure is very good. We've spent money in the right places. We got Mansfield Senior High School. It's a beautiful place. We just put a new turf in at Arlen Field for the whole city.
Nice.
Our elementaries are doing well. Our buildings are doing well. We're putting the money where it should be to keep the infrastructure so we can educate our kids. Now, our report card is up. So we're doing it with the education of our kids. So that's a good thing. So there's some more we can do, the more that we are doing, and we're trying and we're working extremely hard to do that. But if you really think of infrastructure, education, that is huge. Mm-hmm. And those two things as a base, you can build from there.
Well, thank you all so much for having the courage to come tonight and talk live and in person, and for your interest in serving our schools. With that, I'll dismiss you, and I'll turn it back over to Brittany